NFL Week 10 preview. We are live, guys. We are live. We're going to discuss the Ravens-Bengals game last night. We're going to break down every game. There's 4 teams on buys this week, but we're going to break down all the games. It's going to be a fun stream. It's Friday afternoon, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and I'm going to go ahead and tweet the link out, wait for a couple people to get into the stream, and then we'll be live. The first game we're going to break down is a thriller. Wait for it, guys. Panthers, Giants, 9:30 a.m. kickoff in Germany. I'm looking forward to it. So, go ahead and tweet this link out. And it's going to be a fun stream, guys. I'm really looking forward to it today. And we have a couple people already in here. What's up? EJ, unfortunately not first there, at least on my screen. User 4KT typed in yo with 4 O's and he was first. Apologies, but unfortunately he was first. And let's see what other Steelers game. We will get to the Steelers game. It's going to be a good one. Brendan says his Bengals blew another one, and then he also says, "What's up?" Yeah. That was a tough one yesterday for you. I'm not going to lie, but we'll break that down. We'll break everything down, and let's go ahead, tweet the link out, and NFL Week 10 preview. All right, let's go ahead and get in here, guys, and there we go. NFL Week 10 preview. Boom. All right. Chase went bonkers. He did indeed go bonkers. That was one of the best games you will see from anybody. I mean, that was ridiculous. 11 receptions, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns. I have a couple takeaways for Cincy, but we'll discuss that. But let's go ahead. I do want to pull up my notes for each game, and let's go ahead and put the almighty sign up, and we have Giants at Panthers in Germany. Logan got here early. You did. We're just starting. Literally just starting. So, for the Giants and Panthers in this game, 9:30 kick, I do want to go ahead and have a couple of notes here. I'm going to make sure I can see the spread and everything for these games. Let's go ahead, pull up this game. The Giants and Panthers. All right, so the Panthers are 6.5-point dogs. The over/under is 40.5. It's both teams are 2-7. Now, I would imagine, just being honest, by the way, appreciate the super chat from Tristan. We're gonna lose to the Jags. Thanks, Vikings. Tristan, come on now. I personally don't think that. We'll get to the Vikings game later, but I do appreciate the super chat, Tristan. Hope you're doing well. But Giants, Panthers, let's go ahead and break down. So the Panthers last week, they beat the Saints. They also, by beating the Saints, that was Dennis Allen's last game as the Saints head coach, while the Giants last week lost to the Commanders in a relatively close one, 27-22, and the Giants have now lost 4 in a row. Their last win was against Seattle back in week 5, and there's a big difference between being 2-3 through 5 games and now being 2-7, and the Giants are in a very desperate situation. But what I will say, and why I think the Giants are going to win this game this week against the Panthers, is the Giants lead the league in sacks, whether you guys know that or not. And the Panthers' offensive line, as we know, is obviously not very good, and that's been kind of the theme of Bryce Young's career. Now, Bryce did play a lot better last week, and the Panthers also recently extended Chuba Hubbard, but just an all-around tough one, or not an all-around tough one, just an all-around not great game, I have to be honest. I mean, the combined records are 4-14, and yeah, that's going to be kind of the storyline here. 9:30 a.m. game. It's in Germany. I do think the Giants are going to win. Generally, I do trust the pass rush more than I trust a bad offensive line, so I will be going with the Giants in this one. I also think there's a chance that Malik Neighbors goes for over 100 yards. My big thing here that boils down to every game, not just the Giants and Panthers, is obviously every game is going to be won in the trenches. And I do think Tyrone Tracy has been playing really well recently. And I think he will continue to play well. I like Tyrone Tracy a lot. I'm really glad to see him have the success that he is having. He has 440 rushing yards on the year now, and he's been a really bright spot. Now, I know we did a draft video recently on the best drafts in 2024. I noted the Giants at the end, but the production that they've had from this class, whether it was Malik Neighbors, of course, at number 6 overall, Tyler Nubin, Drew Phillips, Tyrone Tracy, Theo Johnson even, this is a really, really good draft class. And it may be enough to save both Joe Shane and Brian Dable's job. Obviously, they can't help the Daniel Jones situation. So I look there's going to be a lot of players I'm watching in this game. And that's going to be what this game kind of boils down to for me is watching players develop. And that's going to be the big one for this game. Ultimately, I am going to go with the Giants. I think it's going to be right around 20-13 final. For people that don't wake up and tune into this game, I completely understand. Both teams are 2-7. I hope Bryce Young plays well, but I think the Giants are going to win. And remember, games are won and lost in the trenches, and I think the Giants are going to win this one in the trenches. So now we have Patriots Bears, and before we get to Patriots Bears, Tristan, another super chat, appreciate it. For people asking what did Germany do to deserve the Giants and Panthers, I'm pretty sure we all know. So appreciate the super chat, Tristan. Appreciate everyone being in here. And if you are enjoying the stream, please drop a like. Helps the channel tremendously. And we're at 100 viewers. Let's go and get up to 30 likes. Everyone in here, let's get up to 30 likes. But we have the Week 10 preview. Let's keep it going here. Going to be a 0-0 tie for the Giants Panthers. I don't know about that one, but let's go ahead and go to Patriots Bears. So, all right, the Patriots are up, and the Patriots also 2-7 on the year. Guys, right now there is a lot of just bad football being played. There's a lot of just bad football teams. There's a lot of 2-win teams to be into November now. And it's a 2-7 Patriots team versus a 4-4 Bears team. And to give you an idea of the spread in this game, the Bears are 6-point favorites. The over-under is 38.5 points. Obviously, Vegas is expecting this one to be a lower scoring game. And I think the Bears defense is going to kind of suffocate the Patriots offense for a lot of this game. I hope Drake May plays well. I think there's been a lot of flashes for Drake May so far to really buy in. And we have the grading the 2024 draft class midway through the rookie season video coming out tomorrow. So we will, of course, discuss both Drake May and Caleb Williams in that video. And I can't wait to share with you guys. But the situation Drake May is currently in is not good. And I think it's really going to show in this game. I know the Bears right now have been going through their own problems, especially with Matt Eberflus. I don't think he is the guy. I don't think anybody thinks that Matt Eberflus is the guy currently. But the Bears are in a very difficult situation because they kind of have their head coach on the hot seat. Their offensive coordinator is also definitely on the hot seat. Can they beat the Patriots at home? Ultimately, I think they can. But for me to remotely think that the Bears are going to have a chance against the Packers next week, which, by the way, I don't think they're going to beat them. Not at all. Especially given that the Packers next week will be coming off of a bye. I'm going to need to see Caleb Williams' best game. I'm going to need to see DJ Moore or Rome Odunze's best game. And I'm really going to need to see the offense to really think about the Bears potentially not competing with the Packers, but keeping it within a field goal of a game. So the thing is, I think the Bears defense can absolutely suffocate the Patriots offense, and they should in this game. The Patriots offense outside of really Drake May and Ramondre Stevenson isn't very good, and the situation Drake's in obviously stinks. That's going to be the story of the year, and that's going to continue to be the story of the year. I think the Bears are going to win. I think it's going to be right around 20-10. All right, let's see here. Bears mid, but Patriots stink. Very fair, very fair. Broncos beat the Chiefs. I'm a very delusional Broncos fan. Well, maybe. We'll see. Let's see here. Hot take. Pats win 16-13. Let's see here. What about run blocking for the Panthers? I think Chuba's been good. Chuba has been good. He has been. And I was glad to see him get the extension. But I think there's going to be a point where the Giants sell out to stop the run and force Bryce Young to beat them. And we've seen that for a couple of games, and it really does not end well. So that would be kind of where I think on that one. All right, I think Matt is a great head coach because they always lose versus the Lions. I get it, man. I get it. So now we have Bills-Colts, and what I want to discuss here with the Colts, aside from the Colts being our team, and aside from the fact that we bleed blue, is there's a couple of problems isn't the right word, but I want to really break down the Colts situation for a minute, because Joe Flacco is starting in this game again and Michael Pittman is out. Not that I think Michael Pittman makes a big difference, although I think it is kind of worth noting. But what frustrates me with the Colts is Anthony Richardson obviously needs reps. We all know that. I'm not really going to focus on that too much, but what I will say is Jonathan Taylor is only averaging like 3.2 yards a carry with with Joe Flacco. I think his stat line is something along the lines of 29 carries for 106 yards with Joe Flacco. And with AR, it's something like 70 carries for 300 yards. Obviously, there's a substantial difference there. And if you don't want to make Anthony Richardson the full-time starter, which I personally think is a mistake, I would at least bring him in for 10 to 15 plays a game, and maybe not that many, but at least a good 10 plays a game, and have him in different packages and have him try to stretch the field horizontally, because he's a weapon that has to be accounted for. Obviously, I don't know if there's going to be a bigger difference on a single roster than the athleticism and the play style at the quarterback position between Anthony Richardson and Joe Flacco. I don't know if there will ever be a bigger difference than that. But the frustration that I have with the Colts, and I saw this last week when they were playing the Vikings, is they have no problem going out there and having their defense play just 30, 35 minutes of a game, sometimes 40 minutes a game, get absolutely gashed the whole way up and down the field, and then they'll run quick 4 or 5 play drives and lose the time of possession every single week. And they are a genuinely frustrating team. So as much as I want to believe in Shane Steichen, as much as I want to believe in everything they have going on, I'm really out on the Colts in this game. I really am out on the Colts in this game. AR should have never been benched. It's only going to hurt his development. Colts haven't been the same since Luck retired. I would agree with that. But, guys, the Colts they frustrate me to no end. I mean, they had 227 yards last week. They didn't get to the red zone against the Vikings, which that's obviously not good. They also won the turnover battle 3-2, and despite only losing by 8 points, that second half wasn't close at all. And it was, if the Vikings would not have spotted them a touchdown on a play where Garrett Bradbury got put on his rear end, that game should have been a lot worse than what it was. The spread for this game, I just want to go ahead and discuss. The Bills are only 4-point favorites. I would be kind of surprised if this isn't a touchdown plus. I think Buffalo is a much better team than what Indy is right now. I also have a lot of concerns with the Colts offense. I have a lot of concerns with a lot of what the Colts have going on. Buffalo is obviously technically not division champs yet, although they will be soon enough. They are 4 games ahead in the AFC East, and Buffalo is coming off of a 30-27 win against the Dolphins. The only concern that I think I could see for the Bills in this game is they play home against Kansas City next week. Maybe they look ahead, maybe they trip up, maybe they fall asleep for a little bit in this game, but Buffalo's a better team. They're a better coach team. They obviously have more talent. They are one of the best teams in the league. Indy is treading water at best, and they're also in a very rough situation right now. I'm going Buffalo in this one fairly comfortably. I think it's going to be something along the lines of 27-17. I do not trust the Colts at all. Jacob says AR is not good. He doesn't need reps because he shouldn't be there. Way too underdeveloped to catch up to guys like May or Nix. It's frustrating. The whole thing is, you said the Colts would be good this year. LMAO. So what I said is I was buying in with Anthony Richardson because of the situation around him. Michael Pittman has underperformed. Obviously, Anthony Richardson has underperformed. But now we're at the point where the coaching staff is also failing them too, which is frustrating because their jobs are on the line and they're basically saying, look, Anthony, we want you to develop, but we can't risk our jobs for you to develop, even though we knew that from the beginning. So all around, the Colts this year are just a failure. It's frustrating. It's frustrating that it's at this point. So that's where I am with that one. Have I done Broncos Chiefs? I have not. We have Vikings Jags next, or Vikings Jags now. Broncos Chiefs are next. And if you guys are enjoying, please drop a like. Helps tremendously with the almighty YouTube algorithm. Hopefully you guys are enjoying, and hopefully you guys are having a good Friday. And Vikings Jags are up. So with the Vikings Jags, here's kind of my thing with the Vikings. Now I say this right now as a Vikings fan. Going against Mac Jones instead of Trevor Lawrence, maybe this is just years of being a fan and years of watching this team. Going against Mac Jones scares me more than it would going against Trevor Lawrence. Now, admittedly, I have been scarred as a Vikings fan. I remember Cooper Rush going into Minnesota, putting up 30 points and beating the Vikings. Granted, that was a different head coach, a different regime. That was back in 2020. struggle against when my team plays backup quarterbacks. But the Vikings looked a lot better last week against the Colts. And Tristan even says we're going to make Mac Jones look like a prime Brady. There's a lot of just scar tissue from the Vikings fan base with backup quarterbacks. So with this game, the Vikings, like I said, they did look better last week. They had the mini bye after the Rams game in week 8, and they looked a lot better. The Colts did not get to the red zone. They took away the ground game, and in a similar fashion to Joe Flacco, Mac Jones is obviously not mobile, although he's not as immobile as Joe Flacco, but he's definitely not Lamar Jackson. So I think there's a good chance that the Vikings can take away the ground game again. And whether you guys know this or not, the Vikings rushing defense is second in yards allowed and third in yards per carry against. So teams are generally just not running the football against the Vikings because they know kind of what the result is going to be. So that's hopefully the best case scenario for the Vikings, is that they force Mac Jones to beat them. Now I'm going to be honest, I am a little scared just of the backup quarterback, just being a fan of this team for years, knowing what is possible. But the Jags last week, they lost 28-23 to the Eagles. That game, that score is a lot closer than how that game was actually played. The Eagles gave them every opportunity to get back into the game. The spread for this game was 4.5. It's now 6.5 with Trevor out. I do think the Vikings are going to win. I mean, just being honest, I think they're a better team at nearly every position. And obviously I trust Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores more than I trust Doug Peterson and Press Taylor and that coaching staff. So I am going to be inclined to pick the Vikings, but I, as a fan of this team for 20 years, am scared of a backup quarterback more than I am the starter, just being honest. Fire Zimmer if we lose. Eagles were kind of trash. Steelers, Yinzers say go. Vikes going to handle business. All right, let's see here. Let's keep it going. Return Mac Jones to the promised land. This could be a trap game. I could not agree more. And I also think the Bills-Colts could definitely be a trap game. I definitely think that, especially with the Bills having Kansas City next week. I think there's going to be a couple of upsets this week. I just don't know where the upsets are going to be. But I do think there are going to be a couple of upsets this week, especially ones that you don't think. Because you look at the Vikings, their schedule is actually pretty easy coming up. And there is a chance that the Vikings are 6-2 right now. Now, I have said before that I think they're not going to win the Super Bowl. I think they're kind of like, their Super Bowl chances are done in that aspect. I have said that, and I still stand by that. But what I will say, they play at Jacksonville, win. At Tennessee, win. At Chicago, if they keep doing what they're doing, also a win. And then home against Arizona. So quickly, you could have the Vikings be a 10-2 team. I'm just saying. All right, let's go ahead and go here. Broncos, Chiefs. All right, let's see. No, take the Vikings logo. There we go. All right. No, not the Saints, although they will be next. All right, Broncos at Chiefs. So, Broncos, tough one last week. 41-10 on the road, lost to the Ravens. That was a bad one, man. That was a bad one. Although, I thought Bo Nix played, I know they lost 41-10. I thought he played all right in that game. I didn't think that Bo Nix didn't have like 4 interceptions, 2 pick sixes, and they were down like 31-0 midway through the second quarter and that the game was already over. I didn't think Bo Nix played awful in that game. And that game was a little teaser for what they're going to have against the Chiefs this week. This is Bo Nix' first game against the Chiefs, and it is going to be an interesting one. The Broncos are 5-4. Their defense is third in the NFL in points per game. Obviously, that took kind of a hit last week, given that they allowed 41 points. But that was the first game all year in which Denver allowed 27 or more points. So it was the first time they allowed 24 points. It's all the way back in week 1 to Seattle. Now, as we know about the Chiefs, their offense last week was starting to heat up a little. They played really well against the Bucs on Monday night. They won 30-24. They had nearly 400 yards of offense, and the Chiefs in this game are 7.5 point favorites. I will be honest, I think the Broncos cover the 7.5. I think it'll be within a touchdown. I think this game's actually going to be one of the better games of the week. The only question that I have is, and this is a big question, how many turnovers can Steve Spagnuolo force against a rookie quarterback? Because that is going to be the big factor for me in this game. Because I think the Broncos defense is very good, as everybody does. I I think the Chiefs offense is still kind of getting going. They're still getting getting everything together. I know they've dealt with a lot of injuries, as everyone has. I still don't think we've seen the best from the Chiefs this year, but in 3 straight games now, the Chiefs have put up 27 or more points. And the big question is going to be, okay, can Denver put up 20 or 24 points against Kansas City in what's going to be a hostile environment in Bo Nix' first start at Arrowhead Stadium? And by the way, I think Bo Nix has played pretty well for a rookie, all things considered, especially the 6th drafted quarterback. And given that his first 2 starts were 0 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, I think Bo's rebounded nicely. I think the Chiefs are going to win, and I think it's going to be a 27-20 final. Although I think the Broncos defense is going to play fine, and I think generally I am going to pick the Chiefs at home, especially against a rookie quarterback. I think most of us would. I don't think that should be a hot take, but if the Broncos have a no-fly zone day, anything's possible, but I am going to go 27-20 Chiefs. All right, let's go here. All right. Business as usual for KC, but injuries are starting to pile up. I wonder if this is a trap game. There's a lot of trap game potential this week, including this one here. Taylor, appreciate the super chat. I'm trying to watch. The ads are killing me. I don't know. I have it, I think, just on normal. It's not like I'm like, oh, let me get these people with high ads. It's just whatever YouTube's automatic thing is. I apologize for that. It's not like I do appreciate the support, of course, and the super chat, Taylor, but I promise you I'm not like, oh man, let me get these guys with the ads today. But I do appreciate the super chat. And we now have the Falcons Saints, and appreciate the super. Dennis Allen is gone. Pay for premium. That is one of the, if I can say anything, actually, that paying for YouTube premium was one of the best decisions I ever made. I'm being so serious. And I know, yeah, YouTubers saying like to pay for it, that does not affect me, my personal like gain at all. I don't get like a referral fee. I'm just saying that paying for YouTube premium without the ads on any video makes a world of difference. I'll just say that. All right. Let's see here. All right. Remember the first 2 weeks of the season? Good times. Yeah, it's been a tough go for Saints fans. It really has. But if you guys are enjoying the stream, please drop a like. It helps the channel tremendously. And I do appreciate everyone being in here on a Friday afternoon. And hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream. And let's keep it rolling here. All right. Falcons at Saints. So the Saints have a new head coach. Wait, the Vikings just tweeted something. Oh, wait, never mind. I thought it was something serious. Okay, I saw in all caps. I thought it was legitimately serious. So I want to just, never mind. All right. Falcons Saints interim head coach Darren Rizzi. That's definitely an interesting name. Of course, you think of like the Rizzler and everything. But look, I am a big proponent that Dennis Allen is out of the building. I've said before that Dennis Allen finds ways to lose games, and we saw it last week. There was a stat that the Saints were the first team in NFL history to, what did they do? They outgained their opponent, or they had over 425 yards of offense. They won the turnover battle 1-0, which, I mean, a win is a win in the turnover battle, whether it's 5-0, 1-0, whatever. They had 425 plus yards of offense, and they won the turnover battle. And there was some other part of that statistic, I forget what it was, but they were the first team in NFL history to lose. And that to me was just the peak Dennis Allen experience. And I'm also not a Derek Carr fan, and I know a lot of Saints fans are not a Derek Carr fan either. But hopefully Darren Rizzi, I am always willing to acknowledge that the new head coach bump is a bit of a factor that you have to throw in whenever a team is playing their first game. I think it's kind of like a one-game boost. I very much think that is a part of factoring in a game and when you pick a winner. Now, I will say that I do think the Falcons are flat out a more talented team. I think they are a better team, and we saw the Falcons win earlier this year when these teams played. It was like a 58-yarder, maybe it was 57 plus by Younghoe Koo to nail it at the end. And this would be big for Atlanta to go to 7-3 and to sweep the Saints. And for anybody who's not a fan of the NFC South, this is one of the bigger rivals in all of football. I know some people may think, yeah, right, but no, these teams legitimately hate each other, and the fan bases, they go at it. So it would be huge for the Falcons in their first year under head coach Raheem Morris to go to 7-3 and to sweep the arch rival Saints. Now, one thing that I do want to clarify here is, or not clarify, but go in a little further, is if the Falcons win this game, they'll be 7-3. They play at Denver next week. And I know Denver's had a good year, but that's a very winnable game for Atlanta. So, guys, we're talking about a very reasonable 8-3 start to the year for the Falcons. And I think Darren Rizzi is going to be a better coach than Dennis Allen, at least in terms of clock management, in terms of just in-game decisions. I think it's kind of hard to be worse than what Dennis was at times. But I am also a believer that the Saints in some ways are checked out, and I generally think when you have guys that are checked out, they of course traded Marshawn Lattimore this week, that teams or that players start to inevitably play for the name on their back rather than the name on the front of their jersey, and there's a lot of me ball, and I think we especially saw that in the past couple of games when they were 2-5 in a 5-game losing streak, then 2-6, then 2-7, and they're especially losing to the Panthers, who were 2-17 prior to that game with Bryce Young as their starting quarterback. I am going to go with the Falcons in this one. I think it's going to be pretty close, but I am not... I'm just not a believer in the Saints roster. I don't think they're that talented, whether Darren Rizzi's the head coach, whether Vince Lombardi's the head coach. I'm not a believer in the talent the Saints have on the roster. I think the Falcons are a more talented team, and I am going to go with the Falcons to win this one 23-20. I think it's going to be a really close one, but I am going to go with the Falcons in this one. I'll read a couple comments here. The Jameis touchdown last year was gold for Arthur Smith's last game. It was. All right, let's see here. Who would you rather have, Dennis Allen or Nick Sirianni? Definitely Nick Sirianni. I know, and we'll get to Sirianni in a minute when we do discuss the Eagles. But, guys, Sirianni has been to a Super Bowl. Dennis Allen was never going to get close. I mean, Dennis Allen's lifetime is 26-53 as a head coach. He was not going to get to the Super Bowl. So, definitely Sirianni over Dennis Allen for sure. All right, let's see here. Saints upset. Falcons win. No way the Saints have a chance. Saints are pulling a 2013 Texans. What are my expectations for Zadarius Smith? I discussed that in the trade deadline video yesterday. Hopefully he finished the year with like 60 pressures, 10 sacks. I think he's already at 5 sacks. So if he can have 30 pressures and 5 sacks in the remaining, 9 games? I think it'd be a really, really good year for him. But we have 49ers at Bucks. Now, this is a tricky game to project. CMC is back, by the way. Christian McCaffrey is back. And I'm going to be honest here. I'm going to pick the 49ers to win this game, not just because Christian McCaffrey's back, but for a couple of reasons. I am a big believer at this point in the year with rest factoring in a little bit. Now, I'm not going to say the Panthers have 2 weeks to play the Chiefs, that they're going to beat the Chiefs, but I think when games are close like this, and to give you an idea of where Vegas thinks this game is, they have the 49ers as 6.5-point favorites. The 49ers are coming off a bye. They are well rested. The Bucks just lost a game in overtime to the Chiefs on Monday night in what I think was a game they very easily could have won. Now, I have said before, my frustration with the Bucks is not the talent on the roster. My frustration with the Bucks is Todd Bowles as an in-game head coach, and a lot of the time when you play to not lose, you end up losing. And I think that was a prime example of that last Monday night. And I know the Bengals, and we'll discuss the Bengals more in a minute, I respect the hell out of Zach Taylor for making that decision last night to go for 2, to go for the win. I would make that decision every time. But the Bucks guys, they scare me. They are obviously down both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. The 49ers are getting healthier, and I know they don't have Brandon Ayuk, and that's obviously not ideal. They also don't have Javon Hargrave, but I am going to choose the 49ers to win this game. They're coming off an extra week of rest. They're getting the 2023 Offensive Player of the Year back. The Bucks are already shorthanded in a game where you need to be able to put up points. They're already on a day less rest, and it's not an ideal situation for Tampa. Although I will say, if Tampa falls to 4-6, which I think will happen, they have a bye next week, and then they play the Giants. I'm just going to project their schedule out a little bit. At the Giants would put them at 5-6. At the Panthers could put them at 6-6. Home against the Raiders could put them at 6-6. If they lose to the Chargers, which I think they would, it's in LA, that would put them at 6-7. I think I might have missed a game in there, actually. Might have missed a game in there. Hold on, 4-6. Okay, sorry. If they win 3 in a row, they'd be at 7-6. I know I'm doing this without a graphic, but the point is, they would then be 7-7 after the Chargers game in week 16 or week 15, and their final 3 games are at Dallas, home against Carolina, and home against New Orleans. The path to the Bucs, despite potentially starting out 4-6, the path for Tampa to go to 10-7 is there, and I will stand by that. That may be a hot take, but I still think if the Bucs lose this game, they can still finish the year 10-7. And even if the Bucs lose this game, which I think they're going to, I don't think the playoffs are entirely out of the question for them because their schedule is not that difficult from here on out. All right. Again, 49ers 24-17. That is the prediction there. All right, let's see here. Shanahan has a combined 33-8 after the bye during his tenure with the Niners. I don't know like how many that stretches because he hasn't coached for 41 years. What is Jay? I'm going to need like some more details there. He's a combined 33-8. We're so much better in the back half of the season. I don't know what the 33-8 part is because he's only been the head coach since 2017. So I get what you're saying. I definitely think he is definitely like a good coach off the bye. But I would need the more details there. All right. Steelers, Commanders. Total games after the bye. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Okay, I got you. 33-8 after okay. That makes more sense. All right. Let's go here. Steelers, Commanders. This is going to be a great game, guys. This is going to be a great game. Be my BFF, good comment here. He's 28-3 off the bye, although I think it's a little forced joke. I respect it. Game of the week. Sorry, I didn't mean to drink next to the camera. I'm sorry, or next to the mic. All right, here we go. Steelers, Commanders. Somebody said game of the week. Let's see here. Is this the game of the week? I feel like it's got to be. Yeah, it's got to be the game of the week. Definitely. Game of the week here, guys. Steelers, Commanders. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 6-2. The Ravens are 7-3. This is we're borderline getting in must-win territory for the Steelers because their schedule coming up is not easy. The Steelers have not played a division game yet. They've played their first division game next week against the Ravens. They are coming off of a bye, and they play. Here's the remaining Steelers schedule, guys. And they're 6-2 now, so them starting out 6-2 was absolutely crucial if they have any chance of doing anything this year. All right. At Washington in Week 10, home against Baltimore next week, at Cleveland, at Cincinnati, home against Cleveland, at Philly, at Baltimore, home against Kansas City, home against Cincinnati. This is an absolute gauntlet for the Steelers. And I'll be honest, obviously, before the season started, I thought the gauntlet started in Week 11 with their first division game against the Ravens. I did not think the gauntlet would start against the Commanders. If he doesn't pick Pittsburgh here, then I call bias. I'll just go ahead and say this here. No, I haven't made a pick yet, but the Commanders are 2.5-point favorites. So is Vegas biased? I'll just say that. I mean, Vegas, Vegas is literally favoring the Commanders. But, all right, so the Steelers are 6-2. They are second allowed in points per game this year. Their defense is really good. The last time they allowed 20 points was back in Week 5 against the Cowboys, and that was a very, very frustrating loss for the Steelers. They forced multiple turnovers. They blocked a field goal. It was a game where they messed around and found a way to lose. But that was the last time they allowed 20 points, and they've only allowed 20 points or more in 2 games this year. Now, the Commanders have been a very, very fun story this year. They've been a very great team to watch. They are third in points per game this year. They're coming off of a 27-22 win against the Giants. And that was, of course, just a week after they beat the Bears on the last-second Hail Mary. But I'm going to be honest, there is a difference in winning 3 games against the Panthers, Bears, and Giants than playing the Pittsburgh Steelers off of a bye week. And the Steelers need this game. I mean, there's a difference between where the Commanders are, where if they win, hey, it's great, we have a rookie quarterback, we would improve to 8-2 at this point, and the playoffs would be on the horizon. Where the Steelers are, guys, we need to win because we have a potential division title on the line. Our roster is pretty old. Our quarterback is 36. TJ Watt's now 30 and has not won a playoff game. Cam Hayward's 35. I really think it's a case of must win versus can't lose, if that makes sense. And the Steelers cannot afford to lose, knowing they have minimal room for error down the stretch, with Baltimore going to be right on their heels, and they play Baltimore next week. And I am going to pick the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game as road dogs. I'm going Pittsburgh Steelers 21-17 final. I think it's going to be the game of the week, as previously commented. And I am going with the Steelers coming off the bye. And I think it's going to be... I mean, the pass rush is going to have to get home against Jaden Daniels, and the corners are going to have to step up, and I am really, really looking forward to this game. I actually can't wait to watch this game. As somebody alluded to, like I said, game of the week. This is going to be the best game. It's at 1 o'clock, and I can't wait. I am going with the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, let's keep it going here. Let's keep it rolling. We have Titans-Chargers, and this is a big game here because Will Levis is starting. This was confirmed within the past hour or so that Will Levis is starting. All right, let's go here. Washington needs it too. They play the Eagles on a short week. It's going to be the game of the week. It is going to be the game of the week. All right. Washington is undefeated at home. Chargers are definitely winning this. Will Levis meme time. If it wasn't after a bye, would that change your mind? I don't think so. I think I would roll with the Steelers here regardless. I mean they've played better recently, and Marshall Lattimore's also out. I have concerns with the Commanders' defense. I know they have played better than their talent on the roster would suggest, but when it comes hell or high water, like in the playoffs, I would not choose the Commanders over, well, it depends how the seeding plays out, because I think the Commanders can win a playoff game, but if the Commanders are playing the Eagles in a playoff game, they're playing the Lions in a playoff game, I would not choose them due in large part to the defense. So I trust the Steelers as a team more than I trust the Commanders as a team. So football's, as cliche as it is, football is the ultimate team game. I'm going with the Steelers to win. All right, Titans-Chargers. The Titans have been, again, another team that's been a disaster this year. Will Levis is starting in this one. Quickly, though, if you guys are enjoying, we're at 77 likes. Let's go ahead and get that up to 100. Hopefully everybody's enjoying. Let's get up to 100 likes. Let's go ahead. I don't know where I am on your screen. Let's hit that thumb button, and let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right, Titans-Chargers. Did I talk Lions-Texans yet? No. All right, Titans-Chargers. Titans coming off a 20-17 win over the Patriots. Titans fans probably didn't want me to say that last part, but they are coming off of a win. And they are the first team to defeat the Honolulu Blue Flu, which is the team automatically losing the next game after they play the Lions. Granted, again, it was against the Patriots, but the Titans won last week. Look, here's the deal, guys. This is what it boils down to for me. Jim Harbaugh versus Brian Callahan, and Justin Herbert versus Will Levis. And the Chargers secondary is playing great. The Chargers rookie class, another rookie class that I wanted to specifically shout out. They've been playing great. Tarheeb's still awesome play last week. I mean, that play to bat the ball back to his teammate for the interception in the red zone as a rookie, as a fifth round rookie. Are you kidding me? Cam Hart's also playing phenomenal. Again, for a later round rookie. The Chargers are doing everything that I thought they would when they brought in Jim Harbaugh. You know, we're going to change the locker room. We're going to change the culture. Everybody's going to buy in. And this is why I was ecstatic for the Chargers when they hired Jim Harbaugh. Joe Alt, Ladd McConkey, as we know, the quicker than fast. I mean, the crafty route runner. I'll just leave it at that. You guys know the rest of the attributes for Ladd McConkey. Tarheeb Still, like we just said, Cam Hart, Junior Colson, I think will eventually turn it around. Kamani Vidal made one big play earlier this year. I think he'll be more and more a part of the offense, maybe in the back half of this year, if not in 2025. The Chargers are on their way to being a very good team. And Jim Harbaugh teams generally do not lose games like this. They are playing a team that is much inferior to them. And Jim Harbaugh is a great coach. They're 5-3. They have the opportunity to be 6-3. And they play the Bengals next week, whose defense is reeling. And they're in a bad situation. And there's a chance where the Chargers are 7-3 heading into the Har Bowl on Monday night, November 25th. For Jim and John Harbaugh, 3 days before Thanksgiving. I'm going with the Chargers in this one. For me, like I said, I know it's cliche, but it boils down to Jim Harbaugh versus Brian Callahan and Justin Herbert versus Will Levis. And I also wanted to shout out, by the way, I want to discuss a little more. Jesse Minter, Chargers fans, you guys know how good he is, man. First in points allowed per game. I just want to read off a couple stats here because Jesse Minter, every week we do the preview, I will talk about Jesse Minter. He is an animal. They've forced 13 turnovers in. Keep in mind, they've already had their bye week, so they've played a game less than about half the league. They have forced 13 turnovers in 8 games, which ranks 9th in the NFL. The Chargers only have 4 turnovers in the NFL, which ranks 3rd. That is offensively, of course, so they have a +9 turnover margin. They are playing just good team football every week. They have back-to-back 3-score wins, and if they didn't lose that game against the Cardinals on Monday night a couple weeks ago, I think the way the media talks about the Chargers would be a lot different. Jim Harbaugh he does not slip up often. I'm taking the Chargers. Another double-digit victory. I'm going to say 24-7. 24-7. I feel like it's going to be an ugly game for the Titans. What it boils down to is your Herbert love. I didn't really talk about Justin that much there. I do love Justin, admittedly, but I didn't really talk about him too much. I don't trust. Guys, I'll be honest. Let me just go back to the Chargers for 1 second. Will Levis against Jesse Minter is not good. It is not a good matchup. I don't like that matchup at all for Will Levis and for Titans fans ultimately, especially without DeAndre Hopkins. I don't like that matchup at all. All right, Jets, Cardinals. All right, let's go to the Jets are now 3-6 on the year. They had a big win over the Texans last Thursday night, and this is, did I pick the Niners because I hate the Buccaneers? Yes, I'm glad you asked. I did. Yes, that was exactly why I picked the Niners. Not because they're coming off a bye week, not because Tampa's already injured, not because they're on a day less rest coming off of a late Monday night overtime loss, not because of any of that, but it's because I hate the Bucs, and not because they don't have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, not because they're down 2 phenomenal players that absolutely could make a big difference in the game. It's because I hate the Bucs. That's why I picked the Niners over the Bucs. None of the other reasons. That's why. All right, let's keep it going here. All right, Jets, Cardinals. Let's see here. So, like I said, Jets coming off a 21-13 win, and I'm not buying back in with the Jets. It was a good win last week. The Texans were banged up, but I will say the Jets have an easier part of their schedule coming up. If there is any chance the Jets get to 9 wins, they can't afford to lose this game. It's that simple. The Cardinals have overachieved this year. I'm very happy for the Cardinals, but the Jets' schedule coming up. They play at Arizona, obviously. They play Indy next week. They have a bye week. Then they play home against the Seahawks, at Miami, at the Jags, and then home against the Rams, which home against the Rams is going to be pretty tough. But they can't afford to lose this because they already have 6 losses. I think they will lose at Buffalo in Week 17, which would put them at 7 losses. So while this game is going to be tough, this in a lot of ways is a playoff game for the Jets. This is going to be a difficult test. The Cardinals they've been hot. They were a 2-4 team. Now they are a 5-4 team. And good call. Sundog was trolling, by the way, on the Bucks. Good call. I'm not gonna lie, you actually got me there. That was a good one there. Anyway, let's keep it rolling here. Or wait. No, actually no, Brandon was the one that said that. Never mind. Disregard. All right, let's see here. All right, so the Cardinals 20-point win last week, the big win in Miami a couple of weeks ago, and then the win against the Chargers. The win against the Dolphins was definitely an emotional, nerve-wracking win, and I was happy for them. But this is actually a really tough game. I want to see where Vegas has there just to see. I mean, it's going to be a close game. It is going to be a very close game. It's 1.5 favorites for the Jets. Guys, I want the chat to comment who you guys think is going to win this game, because I think this is going to be, to me, this is the most difficult game of the week to pick. I really think this is, to me, the most difficult game of the week. I'm not going to look at the chat. I'm not going to let it influence what I think about this game. But I just look at the Jets situation, know they can't lose, know this is a playoff game, and just because I think the Jets are, and just because I'm going to pick the Jets to win, doesn't mean I'm back in, doesn't mean Jets are Super Bowl, all that. But I think the Jets are going to win. It's going to be really, really close. And I think it might even be a 1-point game, 24-23. I think this one will be down to the wire. All right, let's see here. I'm picking Jets, Cardinals, Cards, Rams. Good call, Sebastian. I love the good call, Sebastian. Kind of feeling the Jets. Arizona, unfortunately, We got to think long-term what would be the most soul-crushing end to the season, and then that's the outcome. That is hilarious. Framing it as a Jets must-win is now making me think they'll lose. Also very fair. Oh, Tristan had a super chat, by the way. I'm so mad we didn't hire Jim Harbaugh. Tristan, come on. KOC is fine. KOC is good. He's good. Jets, if Black Ops never dropped, the Cardinals would be on a losing streak. That is funny how that worked out, where it used to be Call of Duty drops, Kyler stinks, and then now it's kind of like, okay, Kyler took it personal, and now Kyler is good after COD dropping. But Tristan, I know you DM me, and I know I message back, but Kevin's all the time, by the way. He's fine. But I'm gonna go Jets. I'm gonna go Jets win. Arizona defense is pretty nice. It is, and or at least it's on the rise. It is on the rise, at least. They have allowed 400 yards just once in the past 5 games, which was to the Packers, so I don't think there's any shame in that. The Packers are a really good team when they're clicking, but I'm going to go with the Jets to win. Got to hydrate, fellas. Got to hydrate. All right, next up, Eagles-Cowboys. And like I said, if you guys are enjoying, please drop a like. Helps the stream tremendously. Hopefully, everybody's having a great start to the weekend. It's about 65 out. I'm gonna go for a walk after this. I'm gonna go touch grass, as the trolls on the internet say. I'm gonna go touch grass after this, and I'm having a good time. So let's keep talking ball. All right, Eagles Cowboys. Like I said, if you are enjoying, please drop a like. All right, here we go. NFC East clash. Eagles 6-2, Cowboys 3-5. I have to be honest here, guys. The talent on this field is extremely one-sided. I mean, obviously the Cowboys have good players, but they have guys out. Dak is out. It's not setting up to be a good game for Dallas at all. And I want to just give you an idea. The Eagles are a touchdown favorite. The only thing that worries me, somebody commented earlier that Sirianni worries me with the Eagles, and he does. But we're not talking about winning an NFC championship game here. I mean, if that were the case, I'll go ahead and make the joke. If that were the case, Dallas wouldn't be in this game. Am I right, guys? Sorry, Cowboys fans, if you're listening to that. The joke was right there. But we're not talking about winning a road playoff game. And the reality is the Eagles they're so much more talented than this Cowboys team they're going to field. Oh, by the way, any Eagles fans watching, Quinyon Mitchell having an absolutely elite rookie season, already a CB1, going to be there for the next 4 or 5 years. I'm not going to get into the decade talk, but he's going to be there the next 4 or 5 years. I like Quinyon a lot. The grading the rookies 17 through 32 will be out next Saturday. Quinyon will be discussed specifically in that video. I know a lot of Eagles fans comment about me talking about Quinyon. He's awesome. Love what he's doing. And he's going to get a test Sunday against the Cowboys, which I'm also looking forward to. And I can't wait to actually review the All-22. I'll probably get to it on Tuesday this week of Quinyon versus CD in those snaps. But my point is, the Cowboys have so many players banged up. There was talk this week about their left tackle, Tyler Guyton, being out. And obviously Dak is out. Deron Bland has been out. Mike is out. Nick Sirianni, just don't blow this one. That is what it boils down to. That is what it boils down to. Philly should win this game by double digits. If you are a Cowboys hater, this should be a good game for you. For anybody that likes to hate watch the Cowboys, it's not going to be the 47-9 Lions game from a couple weeks ago, but I think there's a chance if the Cowboys lose this game in a somewhat embarrassing fashion, I think there's a chance, despite all the players being out, I think there's a chance McCarthy would be fired after this game, because the Cowboys would fall to 3-6. They play the Texans in Week 11, which would probably put them at 3-7. Then they play at Washington, which would probably put them at 3-8, and they'd roll into Thanksgiving with a potential 3-8 record against the Giants, who might be 2-9 by then. So this is not going to be it should not be a good game for the Cowboys. I think the Eagles are a much more talented team. Nick Sirianni, don't blow it, and you guys will win. That is the main takeaway. All right, Lions, Texans. All right, let's keep it going here. Am I still live? No, this is actually a hologram. I'm actually on my way to the Lions-Texans game. I'm actually going to go Sunday night. No, I'm kidding. Let's see here. A good Sunday night game. It would be awesome if everybody on the Texans was healthy. But there was, I'm going to go ahead and confirm this. I am looking this up right now. I saw that Nico Collins was practicing today. If anybody has an update right now in the chat about Nico Collins, all I know was he was spotted at practice. Let's see here. That's all I know. There's a couple reports. There's a guy named Seth Payne who works somewhere in Houston, a sports radio in Houston. He tweeted, "I'm no medical expert, but Nico Collins is already dancing the simplest of dances. He's better than a fully healthy." Let's see here. So he's basically saying that he's healthy. Nico Collins is practicing. I think he is. I don't know if he's going to play, guys, but I still think that the Lions are going to win. The Lions beat the Packers last week. They beat them with the score of 24-14. And the thing with the Texans is they're coming off a hold on here. They're coming off of a loss to the Jets, and they're still 6-3. The thing with the Texans, though, is I don't know how to go about this in a normal way, but I don't think the Texans are going to get the number 1 seed. I don't think they think they're going to get the number 1 seed. So you play the Lions this week. If you lose to the Lions, it's not the worst thing. Not that they're heading in with that mindset, like, hey, let's lose to the Lions, but you're not playing the Panthers, a team you should kill. My point is, if the Texans lose this game, it's not the end of the world. I know I went about that in a very poor way of explaining it, but the Texans' schedule after this is not bad. So if the Texans fall to 6-4, I'm not out on them at all. They play at Dallas next week, which would put them at 7-4, versus Tennessee 8-4, at Jacksonville 9-4, home against the Dolphins 10-4, at Kansas City maybe a loss to put them at 10-5, home against Baltimore. With the way Baltimore's defense is playing, they can win that to go to 11-5, and then they play at Tennessee to go to 12-5. The Texans lose this game even if they fall to 6-4. I'm not out on them. I think the Lions are a better team. I think they're a healthier team. I have some concerns with the Texans' offensive line as well right now. I know the Lions' pass rush at edge has been disappointing this year, at least after Aiden Hutchinson got hurt. I'm going to go with the Lions in this one, though. I think the Lions' interior pass rush, led by Lee McNeil, is a solid unit, and I think the Lions are going to do everything they can to force the ball out of Joe Mixon's hands, who's been a really good player this year. I'm going to go with the Lions. I think it's going to be 27-20, and the Texans' offensive line really, really concerns me. Not just in this game, but kind of moving forward. But the Texans can still finish 11-6, 12-5, even if they lose this game. I'm not worried about them, and I still think they'll be AFC South champions. I'm not worried about the Texans at all. All right, now we have Monday night game. We have Dolphins at Rams. Let's see where the chat is. I feel bad for the Texans. This would be a good game if they were healthy. Let's hear a moment of silence for people going against Jamar Chase this week. That was a tough one, man. That was a tough one. All right, let's see here. Hey, would you ever consider filming a day in your life video breakdown? It would be interesting to see the process. So I'll just go ahead and tell you, it's not as interesting as you would think. It is. This is the generic day. Sometimes vary. I wake up 5:30. Go to the gym. I'm at the gym at 6, get back at 7, make breakfast, and then I start the day at 8. I work from 8 to 11. I'm talking not take a break. I know people at work will like half, they can take 10-minute breaks without really taking an official break, but my eyes are glued to a screen for 3 hours from 8 to 11. I generally take a half hour to eat lunch, and then I usually just lay down from 11:30 to 12 and just have my eyes off a screen because my eyes are just fried at that point just from staring at a screen for 3 straight hours. I work from 1 to 3, eyes still on a screen, walk from 3 to 3:30, go. I mean, I have to get outside at some point to just, again, get my eyes off a screen, and then come home, get back to work, and then pretty much off and on until I go to bed at 10. It's a grind. That's pretty much it, man. It is 8 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. work, gym. That's pretty much it. That would be the day in the life. That would be the day in the life. All right, Dolphins, Rams. If you have any more questions, though, reach out, Twitter, Instagram, DMs. But that's more or less what it would be. Dolphins, Rams. It's a grind though. It's probably 80 to 90 every week. It's certainly stressful, but I mean, look, it pays the bills, and I'm so thankful to be able to do this full time, and I'm so appreciative of the opportunity, and I never want that to be taken for granted. But we have Dolphins at Rams. The Dolphins are coming off of 3 straight losses. They lost 16-10 to the Colts back in week 7. They lost to the Cardinals 28-27 in week 8, and they lost to the Bills last week 30-27 on a 61-yard game-winning field goal by Tyler Bass. I'm just going to be honest, guys. It's a tough game. And when you look at the Dolphins schedule, they're most difficult games from here on out are at the Rams, at the Packers, at the Texans, even at the Jets is not easy. As far as I'm concerned, the Dolphins are done. Somebody asked me earlier my thoughts on Mike McDaniel. I think he's a fine coach, but this situation right now is tough. This whole let's trot Tua out there with a not great offensive line with the holes that we lost this offseason has been exactly what you would expect this year. It's been a frustrating year. And the Rams, on the other hand, I think are the definition of a team that is getting hot at the right time. I want to see what the actual line is for this game, like to see what Vegas has. Vegas has the Rams. Am I missing something? They have them as 1-point favorites? Is what? Matt Stafford, hold on. That is crazy to me because I think the Rams should be like 4.5. That is, I have to be honest, I don't agree with that at all. That is shocking to me that the Rams are only a 1-point favorite. The Rams are coming off 3 straight wins, a 20-15 win over the Raiders, a 30-20 win over the Vikings, and a 26-20 win over the Seahawks. The fact that they're only 1-point favorites, I don't understand that one at all. I think the Rams are a better team. I think the Rams are strong where the Dolphins are weak, especially in the trenches, on the defensive trenches. Jared Verse is well on his way to winning the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Unfortunately, Eagles fans, what hurts Quinyon is he's having a great rookie season, but it's not a Sauce Gardner clamp teams down, first team all-pro rookie season, and you need stats. Quinyon right now does not have an interception, at least to my knowledge. He doesn't. I'm 99% sure. I'm going to go ahead and double check. But Jared Verse is slowly racking up the sacks, and Jared Verse is really, really just, I mean, he's been piling it on recently. Verse to me is the defensive rookie of the year at this point, and Verse right now he's up to 3.5 sacks. I think it'll be 8 by the season's end. He'll probably have 50 pressures. Verse is also top 10 in pressures. But when you factor in Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Byron Young, guys, the Rams are strong where the Dolphins are weak. And that's what it boils down to me. I think the Rams are going to win. I think it's going to be like 28-23. I'm really surprised that the Rams are only a 1-point favorite. The Dolphins season is on the line. I don't trust the Dolphins with their season on the line. I would pick Sean McVay over Mike McDaniel in that situation every time, especially given that it's in LA, and I think the Rams are going to win. All right, let's go ahead here. All right. He does not have an interception. He doesn't. I confirmed. Have I been to Minnesota? At least I have. Yes. Before I started YouTube, I have. Yes. I absolutely like used to travel, but on Sundays now because of the weekly recaps and everything, I don't travel. And that's my choice, by the way, because if I wanted to postpone a weekly recap or just not do one week, I would. But I love the weekly recaps, and I love the fact that you guys love them, and I don't go to many games. If it's like a Thursday night in Baltimore type game where I live in Maryland, where I would have to be able to all in one day go. So that's why I haven't been to Minnesota actually since before the pandemic. Gym tan laundry, that's actually not far off from what my day actually is. That's really not far off. We appreciate your dedication. I'm grateful for it. I am truly grateful for it. As long as Puka doesn't get ejected, we win. Also, Rams D-line gets a lot of pressure, and Tua is not good under pressure. Exactly. And that's I still can't believe the Rams are only a 1-point favorite. That is just one I don't understand the line for that game at all. I don't know. Let's see here. What were you doing before YouTube? So I actually, I kind of want to I don't want to make a video about myself and all that, but I was a senior in college in 2019 and graduated in 20. Shout out Zoom University. And I just said to myself one day, I was looking at other YouTubers and kind of just like, all right, these dudes had to start somewhere. Like every channel at some point had to start with 0 subscribers. So I was like, all right, let's just give this a shot. And the first year was, if you go back and actually search my videos by oldest, they're awful. I'll just be honest, they're awful. I went back and looked at one a couple days ago. My voice is different, not in a good way. It's just different. And you learn a lot of things by, this is for anybody that wants to get into YouTubing, because I get messages all the time about people reaching out, and I respond to all of them about people, getting into it. You have to practice and you have to get better. And as cliche as it is, there's going to be downs, there's going to be highs, but you have to stay the course and be thorough with the process. All right. Zoom University, baby. Shout out. Your videos now are fire. I appreciate that, brother. I do. But it's there's so much trial and error. There is so much trial and error. And I'm glad that I'm at a point where I incorporate the face cam into videos, because I always wanted to do that. And I kind of just decided at one point, like, all right, I want the face cam in. We're going to do it. And here we are. And then we have I might change a couple pictures behind me at some point, by the way. The Jefferson jersey is going to stay. I might change a couple pictures back here, but we'll see. But any other football questions, guys? Oh, wait, here we go. Dominic, do you think the Lions would be this good if it weren't for their superstar roster? No. They get carried, but their first rounders and Dan Campbell without their... I mean, Dominic, I mean, do you think the Chiefs would be as good without Patrick? I don't know, Dominic. I have to be honest. I don't know what you're trying to say, because my chair fell down. Let me pull that back up. All right. Let's see here. If it weren't for their superstar roster, so I'm trying to still like articulate this. Do you think the Chiefs would be as good as without Mahomes, Chris Jones, and Travis Kelce? No, I don't. Let's see here. That's kind of like I just don't understand what the point of that is, Dominic. Dan Campbell would get the most out of a roster. I would agree with that, by the way. Loving the advice and backstory. Yeah, if you have any questions, like, reach out anytime. I hate the Lions. I hate the Lions is what I'm trying to say. Okay, that's actually hilarious, by the way. Do I ever watch college? I do, absolutely. I'm a Penn State fan, and we play Wisconsin tomorrow. Lost to Ohio State last week, unfortunately. Have to be honest, I'm not a James Franklin fan. He's 1-10 all time versus Ohio State. I was actually at that game. It was a good time. Whenever they beat Ohio State, but 1-10 against Ohio State is not going to cut it. Just frustrating, man. Let's see here. Thoughts on the Bengals making a playoff push? I mean, they can absolutely make a playoff push, but my whole thing with Cincinnati, do you trust that defense, the one we saw last night, to go into Baltimore, Buffalo, and Kansas City in 3 straight weeks and win 3 straight road playoff games? Because I don't at all. So that's where I stand on that. Let's see here. Taylor, appreciate the super chat. All right. How far do you think the Steelers can really go? Divisional round is where I have the Steelers. That's where I have the Steelers losing. It boils down to the fact at some point you're going to have a collision with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. The best case for the Steelers is they win the division. I'm trying to think of how the seeding would work. They would have to be, I would imagine, the 2 seed. And that's possible right now. That's possible. I'm thinking how this would have to play down. So they'd play the 7 seed. That would probably be, they could win, whoever that would be. The worst case scenario for the Steelers would be their 2 seed, Cincinnati 7 seed. But the best case is if they're the 2 seed and Indy is the 7th seed and they kill Indy in the first round, and if the 3 seed would somehow be Houston, and I think they would match up better against Houston than I do Buffalo. And then, of course, because the 2 seed plays the highest other seed in the second round, so the best case would be they play the Texans in the second round, and then they get who would probably be the winner of Bills Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. And then I just don't think they're going to go onto the road and beat the Chiefs in the postseason. But I would say that for about a lot of teams. So I would say perfect scenario for the Steelers, perfect scenario AFC Championship game. But it's very rarely works out perfectly. I would say AFC divisional round exit is where I would go with the Steelers. All right, let's see here. A guest on GPS. What is GPS? Like the global positioning system? What are we? I mean, I don't know. Zero room to talk. Penn State dog walks my Terps. What was funny about that, by the way? Back in my day, I love that. Back in my day, it was a whole thing because like Penn State and Maryland, I have friends that went to each college, and I was at Penn State. Shout out Champs Downtown. During the Penn State Maryland game in 2019, Maryland had a blackout. They canceled classes for the day, and Penn State beat them 59-0. That was just awesome. The GPS. I had no idea that the GPS was the Grassi Perna show. Okay, that is actually I did not know that. Anyway, so I have interacted with Tom a couple of times. Tom actually reached out to me a couple months ago. Obviously great dude. I mean, you guys know that. And he reached out to me and was just like, "Hey man, like love the channel, love what you're doing, keep it up." And that was the first time that like I ever like had an interaction directly with him. Obviously, I've known who he is for a long time. But Perna and we're cool, man. Like Perna, like he likes, I mean, he likes my content. I like his content. Perna had me on after the Vikings Rams game Thursday night a couple weeks ago. If you want to go back and watch that. I definitely let loose in his show. He keeps me on my toes. I'm not going to lie. I will say that Perna he keeps me on my toes whenever I either have him on the channel or I go on his channel. Like he's a wild card. I love him though, but it's, I would imagine I'll be on at some point. I would imagine. We'll see though. We'll see. Do you think Will Levis and AR are bad? I think they just aren't being used properly. So my thing with Will Levis is, there were a couple of games earlier in the year where it wasn't just the meme play that was bad. There's just reads that Levis isn't making, and Levis is already 25. Now, I know we see Sam Darnold have the year that he's having, but Darnold is only 27, yet he's been in the NFL for 7 years. So Levis was a 24-year-old rookie, and to not see the field the way Levis is playing as a 24-year-old rookie and now as a 25-year-old second player, that concerns me a lot. Anthony Richardson, on the other hand, is a 22-year-old player. He was raw. Everybody knew he was raw. He's had 25 starts since high school. I'm not shocked that Anthony Richardson has had trouble at the NFL level. I think AR has a much, much better chance than Will Levis to recover, if you will. But Will Levis, I'm kind of out on, just because, guys, he's a 25-year-old player that makes mistakes that 19-year-old sophomores in college should make, and he's in the NFL. So it's so much to say, well, if he takes this out of his game, or if he does this, or if he does that, it's so much to say that as a 25-year-old player. That's my concern with Levis. All right, let's see here. Do I think I could win NFL Fan of the Year some year? I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it though. I'll say bucket list. I will say this. If anybody wants to clip it, tweet at the Vikings. Bucket list 100% is to blow the Yaller horn at a game. That is, they had Jamie Erdahl from Good Morning Football last week blow the Yaller horn. That is definitely a bucket list. I have a couple bucket list things regarding things like that. That is definitely on the bucket list, to blow the Yaller horn at some point. Hopefully we'll get there. But that would definitely be a life goal at this point, or a goal for the channel / through the development of this would definitely be a goal. All right, let's see here. We consider doing college football playoff teams analysis. I personally would not, just because there's so much. I wouldn't. It's just, I'll just say it's not for me. Although I can't wait to do a lot of Q&As, a lot of draft discussions, and the 2025 big board and mock drafts. And I plan to only do a mock draft or two by myself next year. I plan to try and have a guest for every mock draft. So I've already had preliminary discussions with other YouTubers about joining the channel for a mock draft next year. You guys can probably think who they are. But I only plan to do one solo, or we'll say 2 solo mock drafts, and then hopefully a guest for 4 or 5 other mock drafts before it gets here. Have you ever watched Barry, M, or Tub Frog? I have. Great YouTubers, great content. I have. And Barry cracks me up. I was a big fan of Barry's 2017, 2018. When he used to do the Twitter impersonations. Those were, I'm not going to say what some of the tweets, because I can think of a couple off the top of my head that were just outrageous. I mean, and if you followed him back then you definitely know what they are. But they were funny. They were funny. Would I rather blow the Yaller horn or bang the drum? I feel like the Yaller horn, because it's up at the top of the stadium. It's pretty cool. I would probably rather do the Yaller horn, but I mean, look, like I said, if the Vikings were hey, well, you can come, I'm not going to say, well, actually, I'm not, because I'd rather do the Yaller horn. No, I mean, that would be either one. Hope you get the chance to do GPS. I think they'll have me on at some point. We'll see, though. I watched basically every video. Glad I could catch a stream. I appreciate it. Do I have a tattoo? I do not, but I am going to get one soon. I'll actually show you what tattoo is going to be. Taylor, appreciate the super chat. What does my seeds look like? I would say, that's a good question, actually, by the way. Let me get to the tattoo, and then I'll do the seeds. This is a tattoo I've had in my head for a while. We'll go ahead and discuss, or we'll go ahead and keep it rolling here. As you guys know what state I'm from. Best state. One of the best states in the country, I'll just say that. I want to get the I want to get this. Let's see if you guys can see that. I want to get the state outline. There we go. You can kind of see that. I want to get the state outline like right on my leg. That would be the tattoo, if anything. So like right on my quad above the kneecap is where I would get the tattoo. But anyway, let's keep it rolling here. My seed would be 1, Kansas City. 2, I feel like at this point would be Buffalo. 3, I think Baltimore's going to win the division. So I would go Baltimore 3, Houston definitely 4. 5 would be Pittsburgh, definitely. 6 would be the Chargers. And then I think 7, I still think the Bengals would get in over the Jets. So that would be it. The Jets would miss the playoffs in that scenario. Now for the NFC, 1, the Lions. 2, I think will be the Eagles. They are just an insanely talented roster. 3, I would have to go Atlanta. 4 at this point, man, I don't think the Cardinals are going to win the division. Oh, man, Rams or 49ers. I feel like I would go Rams 4. And then 5, Commanders. Ooh, this is tough here. I still think the Vikings are going to get in. This is actually insanely hard, man. Because the Vikings, Packers, or 49ers, one is not going to get in. And I don't know who that would be. Because I think the Commanders are going to win too many games. Or they're going to win enough. So I'd probably say maybe 49ers miss at this point. Because the Vikings and Packers already have 6 wins apiece. I don't know. That's a good question, by the way. Really, really good question. All right. Let's see here. Case Keenum tattoo. No Case Keenum tattoo. No Case Keenum tattoo. Stay sleeping on my cards. Anthony, I was a big fan heading into the year. I love what they're doing. I love the long-term vision. I just don't think they're going to get into the playoffs this year. They're inconsistent. That is the best way to describe them. I mean, they'll put up 40 points against the Rams, and then they'll lose to the Packers by 21. I can't buy in with the Cardinals to win the division, and I don't think they're going to get the wild card. But if you guys enjoyed, please drop a like. Hopefully you guys had a good time. Good start to the weekend. And Week 10 is going to be here. Can't wait for the draft grades midway through their rookie year tomorrow. Be there, 10 a.m. Eastern release. Be there. Comment your favorite draft grades. Comment what you think draft grades should be. And like I said, if you guys enjoyed the stream, please drop a like. Please subscribe if you're not already. We are closing in on 165. And like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed. But that will wrap up today's stream. And until next time, please be safe and have a great day.